this is about the Engines program. And I said, this is directly from NSF's website about the initiative, but what we highlighted here is that they consider for this Engines program this very broad remit of innovation across regions. And they want these programs to be led by organizations within the region of service of the Engine, but they expect that you can partner with organizations that transcend your geographic region of service, and to leverage other resources that have been, that are out in the community. Particularly, they name investments from NSF and other centers, like ours is one of those, but there's a number of other centers and other federal agencies, as well as private sector activities. So this is an opportunity for us to get to know what you are doing in the different groups, for you to know each other and to help provide whatever resources we can to your projects as well. So overall, do a brief introduction. I'm Dr. Renata Rawlings-Goss. I'm the Executive Director of the South Big Data Innovation Hub. We have a Deputy Director at 2 locations in Georgia Tech and also UNC, but our region covers all of the South, but we have memberships that come from all over the world. So our region of service is Delaware through Texas. We're one of 4 regional innovation hubs that cover the whole nation. But we have particular areas of focus, and we use that and bring in people that aren't in only that region. So this is our current member list, or actually it's a little bit more. So it's from earlier this year. So what we do really is actively reduce the barriers to data innovation at scale. So we consider that to be 4 things. And this can be a lack of robust education and workforce is one, a lack of knowledge about how to do data sharing and open data infrastructure, a lack of community cross mobilization. So, people that are primarily working in one area, there can be learnings that are done well in another area, but there's not a lot of crosstalk. So creating that cross community mobilization, and then formalized partnerships that help to strengthen the work on challenges that affect our region and the nation. So complementary to, these are all of our programs kind of fit into one of these 4 buckets around looking at reducing some of these barriers to scale, and to scale up into these larger programs and projects. And we do have some vertical priority areas where we've done work with people and partnerships and projects, and we have some program areas of focus, and those are on the right. And we can talk about those things. And as I said, primarily who we serve is the Delaware through Texas region of the United States, including Puerto Rico and the US Virgin Islands and territories. And we work to amplify the success of partners in our region, as well as to share mutual success with our regional connections. So we have a number of partners, they're shown here. We have coordinating centers, we work with projects, we do education and outreach, as we said, and working groups that people can be a part of. So primarily why we do this is that for us, we're focused around data and AI innovation. So we see this pressing need, and NSF saw this pressing need that data innovation can help solve problems. As I said, we have these vertical areas: health disparities, environment, smart cities, materials and manufacturing, but also these cross-cutting areas that help with all types of project types, which are education and workforce development, data sharing, cyber infrastructure, and this community engagement piece as well, and how the cross-community engagement. So in these pillars, we're not going to go into all of our programs. I just want to give you a flavor of what we do so that you can get a sense. In education, these are our 4 pillars: education, cyber infrastructure, community engagement, and partnerships that we talked about before. And in education and workforce, we really work with like institutional engagement. One example is our education and workforce working group. We work with data science programs that meet monthly, and we talk about their programs and how they're structured, what ways of evaluation, how people are structuring them across the country. And it's a community of practice that really helps with developing these types of programs in a wider way and in a more collaborative way. And we also work to do faculty development, specifically in data science, upskilling faculty teams at different universities so that they can be prepared to teach data science across the region, broadening participation. We produced a study on keeping data science broad and how to work with broader institutions, and have funded a consortium of HBCUs specifically looking at data science programs. And then student and faculty experiences with industry and government. So connecting academic partners with industry and government partners to do these fellowships at HAM. And then briefly on cyber infrastructure, we've worked with another partner project that is an open storage network to help with a distributed network of storage systems for scientific data, so that there can be a place for storage of large scale data of scientific importance, and how it can be connected into the NSF CCC STAR programs is one of the goals. And community engagement, we take very seriously, as there's a lot of different pockets of thematic communities in these priority areas, but how do you cross-talk them? So how do you increase that capacity for data science, particularly if one area is more advanced than maybe another in these particular topic areas? And how do you cement those partnerships? So that's really where we've had our angle of focus, and our vision is around addressing societal challenges, particularly, and spurring economic development in our region. So we've done also some community engagement, specifically in the NSF community. NSF had us do a community input survey for the Harnessing the Data Revolution big idea through NSF, and hosting their meetings, events. We also do topical workshops in our priority areas, and we host an all hands meeting every other year around looking at these areas as well. And lastly, our partnerships area, which we break down into projects that we work on with either partners at different scales. So our Spokes project is our large scale applied research funding. We have seed projects that are competitively awarded that have just closed recently. We award those every year. But then we also have partner projects, which we'll talk about here, with other established projects that are looking at doing something similar, creating this community of practice, working towards economic development, workforce development, and other things. So specifically the Spokes, you can get an idea. These are the ones that are funded at about $1 million each. This is in healthcare and smart grids and energy, one in environmental sustainability with AI, 3D mapping, biological big data, smart privacies with cities. And our seed grants are a much smaller funding category meant to catalyze work. But our partner projects are really aimed at increasing the visibility of projects, helping with that cross-pollination, promoting the creation and sharing of best practices and resources as consortiums build and as they build and grow towards scale. So that's really the goal there for the Partners program. We have some examples of other partners. If you're interested, you can always reach out to us, and we're happy to talk to you. This is one example on health disparities, which is large scale data about HIV across our region, but nationally as well at the zip code level. This is one that's in the materials area that we partner with a project that's working to build a materials data hub. Also one in smart cities that we've worked with, looking at pandemic preparedness and on. So we work with Metro Lab and others when this civic resilience research agenda. So I wanted today to talk about what we're going to do today. So what we looked at was we came to the NSF roadshows, and this is really acting as a supplement to increase the ability for people to talk about what they need and what they might want across the region. We're going to have 2 sessions of breakout groups. We took from the registration and looked at clustering the areas of topic areas of people who said they were available to come in person today. So we really looked at what you put and what you were interested in and tried to group those topics together. So the first session that we're doing today is groups 1 and 2. We'll have 45 minutes of breakout groups 1 and 2, and then we'll come back to this main plenary, and then we'll have different groups of group 3 and 4 for 45 minutes after that. So you'll have the option of 2 breakout groups in each session. And I wanted to break down how we classified these breakout groups from your input to be able to help people group topically about what they're interested in doing. So manufacturing, transportation, and energy. Also, this came under green energy. Some people talked about different China transportation systems, manufacturing's in a lot of different contexts. Also, aerospace and defense was a part of this group too. So if that's something that you chose or if you're interested in, I would, highly suggest you go to group 1, and we're going to have the opportunity for each person to talk, to introduce yourself, and also to discuss whether you are currently have a group that's working towards a concept paper and you're interested in collaborators to join your group, or if you're an independent expert and want to share what your expertise is and be willing to join a group that's not currently in session. So in the breakout sessions, we'd want, as part of your introduction, for you to say which group you're in, so that you can also find collaborators that are either can join your groups or find collaborators that you can maybe work with that have a group that they're working with. Group 2 is a more cross-cutting topic. It's education, economic development, and workforce development. A lot of people had that as something that were their key areas of interest of, how you may be thinking through this piece of the proposal around the economic development and workforce development. I'll be in this group. We can help with facilitating, but people also can introduce and say the same thing. Are you currently working with the group, or are you an independent expert that's looking or maybe interested in being a part of a group? So after group 1 and 2, we will come back. We'll close the rooms and come back to this session just in case anyone has any debriefing, and then we'll go into groups 3 and 4 after the 45 minutes. And groups 3 and 4, 1 was a real tight cluster that we saw around healthcare, kind of dovetailing with climate change. So things that to do with watershed or climate development, and disaster management, healthcare, even biosciences. So if that's something that you listed and was interested in, then that's going to be a part of group 3 in the second session. And then group 4 was really a cluster around technology development, which we broadly classified under tech transfer or lab to market research, how to get R&D into economic development, or how to develop technology like startups and startup incubation kind of technology development piece, which is another main character of the Engines program. Also in group 2, there was a category around housing and also diversity, equity, and inclusion, fairness in rural development. That would also fall into group 2. So I wanted to say that's part of like economic development. A lot of people had those pieces.